Today's cold opening, the Goodman verse. Laurie Goodman has escaped from Mr. Burns' basement and is rabid, rabied with rabies and on the loose in Springfield, rampaging through various places before eventually arriving at Maude's door, TBC. Now, would you like to be the raging Laurie Goodman or all the other characters she meets?
Which would you prefer?
I think it's fun to be having both of those roles.
I'll be everybody else.
Okay. Oh my goodness! I've been in Mr. Burns' basement so long my eyes are bleeding and all on fire. I'm going to go first to Maude's Tavern. Crash! Oh, Maude's Tavern. I would like a drink, Mo.
What the hell?
Give me
Whose
a
are
drink.
you?
Oh, I'm going behind the bar and taking all your drinks and all your liquor.
Get out or I'll shoot you out.
You can try. Snap. That's your shotgun snapped over my knee.
My God, take what you need.
Oh, next stop, it's the Android's Dungeon where that fat comic book man is. Oh, I'm going mad here. My head's spinning and I don't know because I've been locked up as a prisoner for weeks or months or years. Give me some comics. What have you got in the line of something by Neil Gaiman?
We don't stock anything by that man.
Oh, I'm stuffing it in my mouth now.
Stop. Worst lobotomy ever.
Oh, I'll drown you in my drool. Okay, final stop on this journey. I'm going to see my sister, Magdalene Jehoshaphat Radamanthus something Flanders Goodman. Rah, 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 knock, knock, knock.
Laurie?
Doom, TBC, to be continued. Maude, it's a Maude Cast, Season 4. Ice cream face stuffer, don't judge me either, or I may shoot you, or hit you on the head with a tray. It's a one-man, two-man, Truman Show protagonist. Whatever happened to that storyline? She's an unflustered, duck-faced smiler with a ruined apple pie, but unruined club sandwiches, teaching us the joy of shame with knitting, wind chiming, and scrapbooking. Valentine's R.I.P. 21 years gone. Maude Cast. Season 4, Episode 2, which I believe is the 32nd Maude Cast. Is that true?
I think so. Excluding the casts, yeah.
Which we don't do.
No, yeah. Our cousins.
Our cousins.
Yes.
Do that.
Yeah. That's quite impressive. Still a long while to go, though. We are not close to her dying. And there's, as you just said, 21 years worth of content after she dies. So,
yeah, I actually said 21 years gone. But that's the same thing, isn't it? You're ahead of me with that analogy. Fact.
Yeah.
Very good.
Goodbye.
So, hello. Goodman, Tinker, Turnbull, Huntington, Sizemore, Flanders, Mordening, and not a key investorette club. Well, what colour are we on here? Let's go for orange. Put an embargo on ingesting any ham, my friend. Brought to you by the Maude Casting Corporation, a division still, or maybe not anymore, it's unclear, of Ross Dibney's multiplying conger eels, all hail corporate imperialism. Now, anyone that missed the last episode might think I'm still dead. In fact, anyone who listened to the last episode might think I'm still dead. But thankfully, Anton Ouijibo's potions brought me back to life.
Oh, yeah. So it's good that you brought that up because I had forgotten that you died.
Death, really, for us, is merely an inconvenience.
Yeah, it's just the beginning, as Maude's shown. 21 years.
21 years and still haunting. So, sponsors today, Anton Ouijibo's podcast, Demons, Donkeys, Dungeons and Dollhouses. Look into the slithering, skittering, weird, eerie, shocking, horrible blackness of non-Euclidean, gibbous and waxing odor for a sepulchral, dismal miasma. All the occult antiques and zoology that you can point a starry stick at. Sponsors, Cops in Action, the KGB, Russia's finest. Sponsors, rolling-eyed woman from Lost. Still don't know her name. Sponsors, Jungle Rex's triple sock blower hot sauce. And sponsors, Cats, the movie and the animal and the drawing.
Excellent. Our sponsors are back in force, I think. I think Rossellini's money might have put things on the up again with the databases.
I hope so. I got news on that.
Oh.
So, interestingly, so Anton Ouija board, our uncle, when he was trying to bring me back to life, left with his Ouija board. And I've used it to get in touch with Jack Derrida directly. So he's going to throw us a quote, but maybe you can have a little bit of a chat with Jack Derrida now. You just have to move the Ouija board around until you hit the word Jacques. So if you can do that, and obviously you have to spell it out loud while you're doing it.
J-A-X.
Ooh.
Yes, I'm here, Nathan. I'm here.
Yeah.
While you're here, and I've been listening a lot to you. What voice does he do? What?
It's just sort of your normal voice, and then you deepen it, don't you?
Oh, yeah. I was born. I want to tell you a little bit about my life, Nathan, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
So I was born in July the 5th, 1930, in my family's summer home in El Bir, Algiers, Algeria, into a Sephardic Jewish family, and we became French in 1870 when the Crémieux Decree granted full French citizenship to the Arabic-speaking Mizra Jews of Algeria.
Well, I'm glad. Usually you just come in and drop a quote by, so I'm glad that you're interacting with us for once. It's nice to know your backstory too.
Well, Nathan, I'm happy to give much more biographical information about myself, but how about a quote from me?
Okay.
And you can and decontextualize it about your friend Maude in Flanders. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, she's not our friend, but yeah.
Well, that's for you to decide. Text is not a text unless it hides from the first comma, from the first glance, the law of its composition and the rules of its game. A text remains, moreover, forever imperceptible. Its laws and rules are not, however, harboured in it the inaccessibility of a secret. It is simply they can never be booked in the present to anything that could rigorously be called a perception. A softball, if you like.
Unfortunately, Jack, at this point, I'm glad you're here, actually, because I think you're talking at your ass a little bit.
That's for you to decide.
I believe I have decided. Yeah, I didn't really understand that one. It's about text. Maude is a visual character. She has a diary, though.
She does, and that is a text. It's not a real text. What I'm trying to say here, Nathan, is it's not a real text unless it hides from first glance. When you first see the text of your Maude, does she reveal everything, or is there something that is forever imperceptible in Maude? Something that you can never get to?
I believe there is. I believe that's the epitome of Maude. There is something, even with 100 hours of content, we will never fully grasp.
Oh, now I'm fading. Oh, back into the ether. Oh, bye, Nathan. Bye.
Bye, Jax.
Well, it seems like I just sat quietly for that interaction, but it seems like you and Jack hit it off.
It was all right.
Don't worry, I'm sure by the 20th or 30th time you've interacted, you'll strike up some sort of rhythm, and flow. How about something from the auditorium?
Yes, been a while.
It has. Give me a number between 1 and 300.
215.
215. Spectral, the Springfield Gwyneth Paltrow, joyless.
Yeah, we've talked about this one a few times, haven't we? That she's the Paltrow of Springfield, because she is and she isn't. Because she is joyless. There's a few things that I think Paltrow is very good at pretending she has the emotion of joy in interviews and some movie roles, but I don't think there's a lot of that in there. I think she's very serious, and I think Maude is probably the same. You know, there's a few times we see her express joy, but not that often, really. And if it is, it's part of like a crowd. Even sometimes then we'll see most of the crowd clapping, except and Maude will be stood like motionless. So I would be inclined to agree. I'm sticking with the fact that she is Paltrow. I haven't backed down on that just yet.
Heads in boxes. So does that make Ned Flanders that fella from Coldplay?
No, because they divorced and they're both still alive. Now she's with the one of the Glee men.
Really?
She was on Glee and they met. And, you know, now there's no more Coldplay.
No, there's no more Coldplay. But our bathroom is full of her bathroom is full of vaginal. What's the word? What am I looking for?
Shit.
Vaginal shit. Cleansers. Oh, she sells goop, right? And she might have an arse or a balls cleanser for men.
Exactly. And she's an investorette in her own business.
So good word, Gwyneth. I don't think she's joyless. I don't think Maude's joyless. I think it's a different kind of joy. And we just got to dig in there and see what it is.
I would agree. She's not conventionally joyful.
No.
But she brings joy.
Can you?
Like that bit in Avengers Endgame when she's wearing the Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
And she pulls a stern face.
Well, I mean, the last place you'd expect someone to be expressing joy is in a battle to the death with Thanos while dressed in your husband's iron suit.
She just decided this was the one time to get involved.
I mean, if you're going to choose a time, can't argue with that. Would have been unlucky
Exactly.
if she'd have been instantly fried by Thanos' thunderbolts.
Yes.
Can you see out the window there? Can you see what's happening?
Is it Stamp?
Is that Stamp going through the bins? Like he seems to be dressed in rags and he's going through the bins.
It looks like it is. I think they're our rags as well.
Get out of them bins. Yeah, I'll do what I bloody want in these bins. I made these bins. All right, whatever, Stamp. Why are you not? Where's all your money? Bugger off. Oh, that's turn up for the books, isn't it?
I thought it was a Twitch billionaire.
I thought it was a Twitch billionaire. Hold on, listen. Who's that at the door?
Hello?
Nathan, I'm in trouble.
Who is it?
It's me, Uncle Statman.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in trouble. I've lost all my money in a Reddit scam.
Why? What did you do?
Oh, I put money in GameStop. And then Robin Hood's took all my money. There's some kind of Reddit scam. I thought the stats were in my favour, but they weren't.
That's a shame.
So now I'm skint. I'm bloody skint. Can you give me some crumbs and scraps for me tea?
Nope. But
do you not remember when I let you in my shed at Christmas?
Nope. You can clean the floors, though, for 50p a day.
Oh, Nathan, that's slaving. That's bleeding. That's a disgrace, that. I'll do it for 60.
Okay.
55.
55. Good. Deal.
Deal. All right, give me that bloody mob then. If that's even what I've got for do.
I didn't say mop. I said clean the floors. Here's your brush.
Bye.
Bye.
Ring, 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 ring. It's all go here, isn't it? Ring, ring.
Hello.
Whoa. Hello, Nathan.
Oh, it's the dog. The private investigator dog.
I'm a private investigator. You figure Scooby-Doo. Hello.
Oh, yeah. What are you?
I'm Captain Rex Woffington up at the MF-IMDb 5 up in space. Oh, woof.
Oh, yeah, you're on the moon, aren't you? I don't think Scooby-Doo's a private investigator. I think he's a ghost hunter.
I don't think there's much difference, really, between them. I think if you actually tried to hire him, he'd probably do the job. Woof.
Probably. Just does a good job.
And anyway, I'm not here to talk about other dogs, what you know.
Okay.
I'm here to report currently what's going on in your space station, the only functioning MF-IMDb in the universe, as all the others burnt down, including the one under your watch. Woof, woof.
Oh, yeah. How's it? What's the update?
Well, I'll tell you.
Please do.
Station experts are taking two spacewalks. Very soon, fix an arm that's got a bit gammy arm. Woof, woof.
Woof. Rex,
Oh,
do you...
Rover, yes, Captain Rover. How can I help you, Woof Woof? Wait, Nathan, can you just wait a second?
Yeah, okay. Woof, there's some... I can hear breathing and moving in those big boxes.
Rover, Captain Rover, I'm afraid you need to go and clean the bathrooms.
What's in those shipping containers,
Go
Woof?
clean the bathrooms right now, Woof Woof.
I can smell blood.
Woof, Woof. I will have you done for subordination, Captain Rover, if you don't immediately go and clean out the latrines. Woof Woof.
Woof. That sounded troublesome. Is
If
everything
it's
all
none of
right?
your business, this phone call's over. Goodbye.
Okay. So none of that was about Maude.
Shall we move on to content?
Sure.
Clip one. Give the people some context for this episode, if you don't mind.
We are still in the episode Bart After Dark, and we're going to be here this week. This episode and next episode are going to be this episode. It's a good one. Bart has been caught working at a burlesque house by the Moral Citizens Brigade, aka Tim, Helen, Ned and Maude, and we're about to find out what happens next when Marge pushes her big feet in, her webbed toes.
Does Marge have web toes?
According to Dr. Hibbert.
Interesting. So they're in the town hall, and it says outside the town hall, you got a bit of a visual gag here. Town hall meeting tonight, tomorrow. Town hall meeting bloopers. We cut to the inside, and everyone sat there watching Diamond Joe. We got an angry Marge, and we've got the Holy Rollers. Maude is channeling the demon in her eyes. Her eyes seem like they're rolled back in her head again. They've done this thing recently in these shows where her pupils are like really high up in her eyes when you look at her. And it just looks like she's rolling her eyes back in her head, and she's just kind of like comatose. But who knows?
Train spotting.
Train spotting. She get a little bit of Maude spotting. Anyway, she's sitting there, hands clasped on her knees, and Maude is Marge is very, very angry. Ned and the Lovejoys, and I call them the Holy Rollers Plus. So Diamond Joe's on stage, and he goes, after visiting, what does he say? Aruba for the last 2 months, I've determined that it's not feasible to build a super train between Springfield and Aruba, the Caribbean island. And interestingly, Aruba is the home of MFIMDB 56. Sadly,
oh yeah, one of the better ones, the floating one.
It is on an external floating island, which made it much sadder and stranger that it also burned down in that mysterious toaster incident. So he has a suntan, Diamond Joe, which is unusual. You can see around his eyes when he takes his glasses off that he has a bit of a tan. But it's a subtle tan. He said, next on the agenda, everyone boos anyway. And we don't see whether Maude boos at this lack of super train, but most people seem unhappy at the lack of the super train. Diamond Joe says, next on the agenda is the Citizens Committee on Moral Hygiene. And again, everyone says, oh, they also feel bad. Even though Miss Hoover and the Van Houtens go, oh, and I would have thought they might have been on their side. So I don't get it, because that wasn't a funny joke that they said, oh, twice to two things. Right.
Luann and Miss Hoover are a bit more liberal.
Okay, so they don't like this kind of like fussing.
No.
Okie dokie. Maybe.
No.
So they stroll onto the stage. The Holy Rollers Plus stroll onto the stage, led by our very own Maude Flanders. They stand to one side because, of course, they're not allowed to speak because big bossy Marge is going to speak for them. Once again, Maude's eyes are just all over the place, like just bonkers. I don't know. I started to think that's got to be on purpose. That every time you go to Maude, her irises or pupils are all over the place.
It seems like we only noticed it in the last episode, so maybe it's just a season 8 storyline. Maybe she's still on the side.
Maybe she's still on the side. Maybe it's just a hidden storyline. You know, maybe they said, okay, we're going to have this happening in the background. There'll be hints, but you'll never know. It's the kind of thing they do now.
Maybe she swapped out the ice cream for alcoholic cider.
Hard liquor. So there is, bang on about Rick and Morty and Dan Harmon all the time, but there is an idea that there's a secret storyline in the first couple of seasons of Rick and Morty that nobody's uncovered yet, but I find that hard to believe at this point. So Maude doesn't get to speak, but Marge does with her, she's bossy. She's waving her arms all over the place and saying, I'm here to share my moral outrage, but this time it's not about that giant, what is it, Doesco? It's a beer bottle.
I don't know.
Maude is stood with her arms by her side, not blinking, just staring off into space as she does. And that's it. That's the clip.
Yeah, it seems like things have taken a turn from the last clip that we saw last week. Like I said, Marge isn't focusing her anger on Homer or Bart. She's directed it solely at this Maison Derriere and gathered the four of them up. So I said that maybe they were just doing it to cause trouble, but obviously they do want to deal with this issue as well. It says something like the moral something committee.
The Moral Hygiene Committee.
That was it. And so this is like, we've got the bowling team, we've got this, and we've got the other committee she joined. When she speak to the Bushes, Ned says something about the neighbourhood committee.
Yeah, which is probably just Ned, to be honest.
Yeah, and she's an investor. So she's busier, similar to Database maybe. The more she's settling into Springfield in our timeline, the more she's kind of coming out of a shell, especially season 8.
Yeah, I think it seems like she's not afraid to join in and be around people, but she equally likes her time, which is why she'll just disappear from that mob in a second. Today, she doesn't do that, though. She goes.
I do think
very much the opposite.
It is very much the opposite. I do think this is maybe the first time we've seen her on stage.
Yeah, could well be. She's not performing, though.
No, in terms of, like, she's spoken up before, but she's literally stood in front of the whole town. So this shyness thing is kind of going away. I almost think she's going to burst into song at any point.
Homer does later, but I don't know if she joins in.
Kind of.
That's really that's our Maude, isn't it, really? Kind of joining in until she died.
Yeah. And then kind of joining in some more. Dead or Alive, never really noticed.
Exactly. Dead or Alive, kind of just there in the background. But that's the kind, it's the kind of Maude we like. I don't think we wouldn't want a brash Maude. We like that as a little bit of spice and flavor, but I don't think we'd be having the Maude cast if she was some flamboyant hootie tooter who dressed up in maybe a bikini and danced on tables.
That would be not somebody Maude would ever want to associate with.
Absolutely
or be
not.
In any way related to.
No way. Preposterous. Clip 2. Drinking, gambling, and debauchery. It's right under our noses in a secret house of burlesque, shouts Marge, waving her arms around. We get a classic back of the heads of everyone shot, but not Maude. Maude now seems to have slipped on a red cardigan. I don't know if you noticed that. They are shocked, especially Luann. It's a Roswell fest, he says, not remembering if Roswell does the voice for Luann.
She does.
Maude looks on, and then she knows once again in this episode when it's time to stride purposefully out of the way, as she did last week. Diamond Joe steps up as Marge pulls down the screen to make a presentation, and Diamond Joe Quimby says, "People, this is an issue that we as a town are strong enough to ignore."
Because he's about to get caught out. This is a good scene when they just show everybody in town leaving the Burlesque house, and all the wives say the name of the person who's left, and then it shows Barney. So Mo just says it because nobody else has said it.
Okay.
I did notice Maude get changed mid-scene and then get changed back. And I have no answers other than, is she a witch? Because again, it looks like her skirt's changed too.
I think what she probably did is she had a cardigan tied around her waist, and she probably took the cardigan off and put it on. So it looked like she's now wearing a cardigan and a different skirt. And then she realized, it's not really that chilly. And so she kind of tied it back round again. It's the only explanation.
It's good, but it's kind of softened by the fact that she isn't wearing a cardigan around her waist.
Well, from the angle we're seeing, maybe it's just hard to see the cardigan.
Maybe. But yeah, she does. She strides off. She has no, and yeah, you're right, she has no desire to be the main character. Marge is up there. Marge has a Simpsons ego to fill. Maude just has a purpose to serve. She doesn't need the glory.
She doesn't need the glory. She's not about that ego. She's about taking care of business. She's a TCB kind of lady.
And at this point, I don't think they generally have a plan, or I don't think Marge has let them in on the plan, because I don't think property destruction would have been high on a list of non-impulsive things to do. I imagine their solution would have been to I don't know, it would have been like some kind of legal loophole. There wouldn't have been, let's just go around and smash it up.
Yeah, going around and smashing it up seems to be a short-term kind of plan, because surely you would just get in a lot of trouble for destruction of property. I mean, obviously the police are there smashing up too, so you got a little bit of an out. But we're getting ahead of ourselves, because that is clip 4. And we're only on clip 2, so let's move on to clip 3. Diamond Joe Quimby says, all in favor of demolishing our beloved Burlesque house, raise your hands. And of course, the Holy Rollers plus raise their hands. And Maude's really going for it, like that kid in class who really knows the answer and really wants to be called on. She's really pushing that hand up high and raising her chin, and a hopeful look in her eyes that this is going to happen and democracy will save the day. And nobody else really votes for it. A few half-hearted hands raised until Marge goes, and then everyone just raises their hands. I thought, really? Is Marge Simpson really that powerful that all she needs to do is cough and everyone raises their hands?
I did also have that note of which one. I forgot whether it was just Marge who coughed or whether they all turned around and looked at the crowd. But I said, like, one of those 5 people has power, but which one? Somebody in that group is scaring the entire town into overriding what the mayor has decided to say.
Yes, and if it was all 5 of them, who do you think it was that holds the key to that? Who holds that secret power?
Well, 2 of them that we know of have access to the Yakuza. So maybe there's, like we were just saying about Derrida and text. Maybe it wasn't that. Maybe it was secret storyline. Yes, it was. Maybe there's some whisperings around town that the investorettes are involved in some. Maybe people are scared to ask whether they know the Yakuza for fear of finding out the truth. Because this looks like the kind of thing, if Fat Tony would have done that and everybody put their hands up, that makes sense.
Yes.
But these 5, like, I'm surprised. Even with Marge there, I'm surprised Homer didn't just walk over and fart in Maude's face or something.
That would have been par for the course. I mean, every other time she suggested something or anything's been suggested, it's been shut down. But it feels like a convenient plot point. And it seems like even though they did vote to shut it down, like you say, the plan doesn't seem to be who votes for us to go around there and smash it up.
And I think a lot of the town are acting out of fake remorse. They all feel some sort of shame of being caught at this burlesque house, so they need to take their anger out on the burlesque house. So I think that's how the group gets riled up. The group gets riled up easily anyway, but in this case, everybody has motivation as well.
Yeah, to be honest.
Except for Maude, really.
Except for Maude, who once again is just passively there until, and we'll get to this in, I think, clip 4, the next clip, when she just does something that seems very out of character.
Yeah, there's a few people in town who I wouldn't buy doing this, but it is quite a small group when you get there, though. Like, clearly not the entire town, even though they all raise their hands. It's clear that the entire town aren't there for this destruction. It's a select group, and not a lot of, I don't know, I might be wrong, but I don't remember seeing a lot of women in the group. I feel like it's just Maude and Helen and probably Edna.
I know that when they're trying to get everyone to raise their hands, everyone behind them is like a generic character. So I don't know if we don't find out really who supports or unsupports it until further along. Shall we move on to that 4th clip?
Let's do it.
Clip 4, the town mob with Maude descends on the burlesque house. They smash through the old-fashioned New Orleans style gates into the kind of like French-ish house, looking. I'm not an architect, so someone will have to tell me all the details. But there's some nice gargoyles there. Helen is leading the charge. Maude is nowhere to be seen. We know she's there from what happens next, but she's nowhere to be seen at this point. The burlesque madam comes out with the ladies and says, Helen Lovejoy says, stand aside, you degenerate 2-bit proprietress. And we just see Maude in classic hiding behind someone else mode. The madam says, don't you call me that, with her arms folded. I'm an entrepreneur. At which Sideshow Mel shouts, shut up, you're wasting valuable smashing time.
I'll interject there. They don't actually break down the gates. They get there with all the pitchforks and the things, and then Ned just buzzes and says, "It's an angry mob. Can you let us in?" And she does.
What else can you say when an angry mob buzzes?
Well, yeah, so that's why they do that. Yeah, Maud's hiding behind. She's like fourth row back. She does a lot of moving around in the next episode that or in our next episode. She just teleports, and this is the first instance of that. She's not in that mob. She's not in the mob as they come up to the gate and go in. The first time you see her in the mob now is when Helen says that proprietress line.
That's a good word, isn't it?
It is. It's a tricky word.
I think it's a play on words of something, but I don't know what it is. A play on words of.
I don't know if it's just supposed to be well spoken. And I think she said entrepreneurs, which I'm assuming is a female entrepreneur.
Maybe. Such a thing. If such a thing exists, I hope so.
I think so. 2 of the dragons on the Dragon's Den are lady dragons.
Out of how many?
50.
There's 50. There's 50 dragons?
No, not really. Like 5.
There's 5 dragons and 2 of them are lady dragons, which means if we extrapolate for the entire population, the 40% of dragons are women are dragon entrepreneurs. 40% of entrepreneurs, aka dragons, are female.
Exactly.
Which is 10% less than the average amount of females in any given group. But still a good show. 20% of all entrepreneurs are Duncan Ballantyne.
I agree.
Of them, they're Scottish entrepreneurs.
Scottish dragons. Anyway, yeah, that was all I had to interject with. She's going to be teleporting quite a bit.
Now, of course, we know she can't really be teleporting. So how's she getting in and out of those spaces?
She's sprinting. Just for confusion and delay.
Yeah, it's hard to know what would go through her mind. It would make her just dash in and out of the scene. But that's our Maude, right? She's a mystery. She's an enigma. She's right there, front and center, loud and proud. And the next minute, she's cowering and hiding behind an old man. And then the next thing, she's shouting and smashing things, as happens right now. So we cut to the steps outside of the brothel, if I might call it such a thing. And Helen throws a big plant pot on the floor, and Maude, for no good reason, just starts leaping up and down maniacally, like Toad from the X-Men, leaping up and down maniacally on the plant and the plant pot. For what end? Does she think a brothel without plants will cease to function?
My theory is Helen and Maude at this point want to be a part of this, but I think they're both sensible enough to know what there's going to be repercussions to this after the moment has passed. Even if the police are there now, something is going to be done about this. So I think they know, we have to look like we're part of this because we riled everybody up. But Maude doesn't even smash anything. Helen does the smashing. So Maude's even conned Helen here. And then Maude just jumps up and down on something that was already smashed.
Yeah, it's like
in the weirdest, her legs and such a weird pose.
That's what I mean. It's a classic stomping move. And so the bad guy, the Toad from the X-Men, who was one of Magneto's buddies in the early days, he would jump like that. And this kind of frog jumping, and she's just looking pretty demonic as she jumps up and down on top of this plant. Yeah, but the trick is she's looking like she's having a whale of a time, and she's looking like she's really, putting herself forward against this moral travesty. But yeah, at the end of the day, when the tickets are given out, she won't get one because it's you can't send me to jail for jumping on a plant. It's not illegal.
Exactly. So she's a mastermind. Everybody else is doing the dirty work for Maude.
Clip 5.
Yes.
Homer's on the steps of the house of ill repute, and he's singing to the Smashers. We get a classic back of the head shot of Maude as Homer starts to sing. You can close down Moe's or the Quickie Mart and nobody would care, but the heart and soul of Springfield is in our Maison Derriere, aka Bottom House. We zoom out and we get a little back of the head and body shot of tiny little Maude, just kind of standing there, not really clear what she's making of this because once again, she's just stood absolutely still.
She's already moved as well. Like she was like second in that row of people, and then when you zoom out, she's like 5 back.
Dashing
So
around.
it is possible that she's just recovering from all the off-screen running that she's doing when she's stood motionless.
She does seem to be pumping with sweat.
This is one of the best Simpsons songs ever, I think. And it's one of those things where I've heard it many, many times over the years, but only recently did you sort of don't hear the lines properly sometimes, and then you don't think about them. And I didn't realise how the first line is really funny. He says you could close down Moe's in the Quickie Mart and nobody would care. And Moe and Appa were in that crowd, just sort of, I don't know if you get a reaction, but it's just an obnoxious thing to say. I thought I'd include this now as a lead into the next episode, which is going to cover, the big song, Will She Sing?
Will she sing? Will we hear her? Will we be able to know if her voice is there?
I will say this, Maggie Roswell sings.
Really?
But as whom?
Who does Maggie Roswell sing as? What, in this episode?
In the song next week.
Does she get a line like, does that look like a cutaway line where somebody does one of those like, oh no?
Kind of. She's one of the, like, I think she's 2 or 3 of the dancers, because
okay.
The lady, Belle, the lady, and who is Tress MacNeille, who is Doris, and the dancers do most of the singing, I think. But it's notably Roswell, and she's got a good singing voice, so it is surprising that they didn't really utilise it very often.
Yeah.
Except that one episode, which is just Maggie Roswell singing Sherry Bobbins.
Sherry Bobbins, and then just the odd Maude here and there. I Got You, Babe, Son of Sonny Bono, etc., etc. And so,
one final point: the newest episode available of The Simpsons that I watched the other day.
Yeah.
The very first line of that episode is Helen Lovejoy singing.
Really? So maybe finally, after all these years, they've realized they've got a star on their hands, and we're going to get some full vocal performances from M. Roswell, and who knows, maybe even a full opera from Beyond the Grave from Magdalene J.R. Hartley Flanders.
Turnbull. Wiggum
Flanders. Is anything else to say on those clips before we move on?
I don't think so, other than Maud jumping on that plant was probably her venting a lot of inner frustrations.
Yes, I think so. So we don't see her venting that much, right? She gets a little bit angry, but mostly she's calm. But where does she go when she really needs to scream, let it all out?
I reckon she goes to the cemetery at night.
Screams at gravestones?
Yeah, screams at cats, screams at passing cats in the middle of the night, and she pays off the gravedigger. I'm not happy about this, but I think he's called Gravedigger Billy, and he's possibly just Irish. You can guess who he's modelled after.
Yes, sadly. All right, that's it then for this week, and we'll come back to it. But now it's time for some spectral speculations. It feels like years since we've done spectral speculations, and so I want to go right back. So a long time ago, we said that Maude was born from an immaculate conception and a miracle birth that led her parents, Frank and Marilyn, to religion. Now, that seems like a wild thing to throw in without any explanation. So could you uncover a little bit what we need to know about this immaculate conception? Is that metaphorical or literal, and a miracle birth?
I think that Marilyn and Frank, I think they're a bit wacky. I don't think we've got onto sort of how wacky they are. Like, if they hadn't found religion, they would have joined a cult. They needed something. So I think that it was just like...
Same thing, lad. Same bloody thing, lad.
Precisely. Yeah.
Let's get rid of the Christians.
I know. Seen them off. So I think they probably just maybe struggled to have a child, even though they've got like 5. There's something special about Maud's birth.
There is. Immaculate conception and miracle birth is how we described it.
But I do think that's probably how Maud has had it described to her. I think it's probably more normal than it's one of those things that if they had an explanation, it would make sense, but it sort of seems supernatural because they don't know how it happened and they haven't chosen.
Immaculate Conception, would you like to explain that? Let's break it into fun-sized chunks. Can you explain either what the real Immaculate Conception was in this case, or what they told Maude and what she believes?
I think they're lying. So I think they just told Maude. I don't know, maybe she just, as a child, didn't question it, and this is where she's kind of got this sense of entitlement from. But I don't think they didn't play her up to be like the second coming. She probably thought a lot of people were, you have like people are born like a C-section. Maybe she just thought there was a lot of Immaculate Conceptions, and maybe she was just merely one of them. And maybe the religious people were the chosen people.
And no one told her otherwise. She thought that 40% of births, similar to 40% of dragons, were Immaculate Conceptions, and nobody put her right.
I think even Ned probably wouldn't correct her on that out of pity or like understanding more than anything. That he wouldn't want to take that away from her if that's what she believed. And also Ned's super Jesus-y, so who's to say he didn't just believe what she said? And I don't think Maude's sharing this. I don't think Maude's going to I think she's probably told Helen, who's probably told most of the town. But I don't think Maude's told many people herself that she thinks. But at this point, yeah, she probably knows the truth.
That she's not Jesus.
Yeah, and probably just from reading books and stuff. She probably knows that isn't the case, that seeing as she's never met another person who has said it. But yeah, I don't think it's done her any overall harm. I don't think it turned her into a monster, but it just sort of gave her that bit of smugness that I'm special because Marilyn and Frank told her she was and treated her better than the other kids, which is why Laurie is such a nightmare.
Yes, I mean, is Maude the youngest in the family?
I think so. I can't remember what we established.
Here we go. I've got it written down. No, the twins, Garrett and Conrad, are 4 years younger, and her older sister is Laurie. So she's right in the middle. So maybe Laurie came out and was a bit of a nightmare, and then they had this miraculous birth several years later of Maude, and they were so overjoyed that they had somebody who was at least slightly hinged.
Maybe they just wanted to correct the mistakes they made with Laurie. So they thought, right, we're going to tell this one that she's Jesus reincarnate. So then
you say that's going to make everything okay, right?
Yeah. You're not going to be bad if you think you're Jesus.
You can't be. It's outside your remit. It's like, well, I guess I'm only doing good stuff then.
So there we go. That's what I think happened. I think she bought it for a while. And then I don't think Ned will have been the one to tell her the truth, but I think at some point she will have just sort of realised that it wasn't just kind of like Santa. Like there probably wasn't a moment of like realisation and a whole kind of thing. She probably just one day, she was like, oh yeah, I know that's not what happened.
Oh yeah.
Because Santa was also not an Immaculate Conception.
No, we've already seen what happened when she encountered Santa. She essentially asked him to leave her house.
Oh yeah. Surprised she didn't beat him over the head with a tray.
Oh, we didn't see the whole clip, so maybe she did. Have we explored that concept enough?
I think so.
So how about Maude Diary? We're getting right back into classic, full-on classic Maude Flanders podcast material here. I'm very pleased. We got a page of Maude's diary?
I do. Here it is.
I'm ready for it.
Dear diary. Oh God, my hands are covered in blood. Santa won't wake up. The tray did too much damage. And I think he hit his head on the chimney. Ned's due home soon. I don't know what to do. I've called Luann. I don't trust Helen. She's gonna be round soon with a hacksaw. We're just gonna cut him off and put him into bin bags and set on fire. This is the story that I told Todd. tonight because he kept asking me stupid questions about Santa's mortality. So I thought I would share it with you, Diary, because I couldn't have possibly done that. In reality, that would just be ridiculous. But I am thinking about stabbing Luann. Bye.
So what we see here is escalation. She throws in a story and then says the story is not true, and then explains in great detail why she told the story, and then threatens harm on someone else. But I think we've established firmly by now that most of the stuff that Maude says in her diary should be taken with a pinch of salt. And she's either venting or she's joking or she's playing out characters. So what do you make of that diary entry?
I think it's a bit wacky. I thought I told myself I would find a couple of normal pages this week, but it seems that I just found this one straight away. But I think there's a lot more normality in the Maude diary, and I think sometimes she just has fun with it. Has fun with her the idea that somebody was going to pick it up one day and read it. But yeah, if it is true, it's wildly out of character, and I'm glad she didn't stab Luann.
Yeah, because that's the kind of thing that would have made an episode. So I mean, we're assuming lots of things go off camera in Springfield, but usually the big stuff like that, like somebody taking a kitchen knife to a friend, you're imagining that's going to at least make the reels.
You'd hope so.
And I wonder what Luann's done to her. I mean, it used to be all about Helen that she would do bad stuff to. So, what's gone on there?
I don't know. I think season 8 will develop the Maude Luann friendship slightly more. So maybe this came around that time. But again, I think she's just Josh. And I don't think she has any intention of stabbing Luann Van Houten. But who knows? Either way, it didn't work.
Do you
Life
think
stabbed her first?
Life stabbed her first with some t-shirts?
Yes.
And a big fall. Do you think Ned ever read any of this diary?
No, but newest episode of The Simpsons, Bart and Milhouse take some books from Flanders as a yard sale and get a Maude reference. So this podcast will keep living. Bart takes some books and burns them and tries to skate over them. One of them falls out, and it's a pink diary with a heart on it. And he opens it, and it's got this beautiful cursive handwriting. And there was a brief moment where I thought this idea had been taken from us, but it would turn out to be Edna's diary. And at the end of the episode, Bart gives it him back and says, you should, there's some nice stuff in there about you. And Ned says, oh, I wouldn't. I'm not going to read it. It's private. Then he goes home and reads it, like a little bit of it. And it's just says some nice stuff about Ned. And it was very, very well done, to be honest. I was surprisingly pleased with it. It's a good job, New Simpsons.
Good job, New Simpsons.
But yeah, so he probably would if he found it.
Just imagine it had been Maude's diary and he got home and read it, and it was all of this filth and threats of violence. None against Ned so far, but I'm sure at some point we'll find it where she threatens to maybe take a pair of scissors to his ears or something.
She doesn't really talk about Ned that often in the diaries.
Almost never, to be honest. Sometimes the kids, a lot of stuff about Helen, mostly just about her own inner turmoil.
I'll see if I can find some Ned pages in the future.
Maybe you need to make an index for it so you can quickly locate those.
That would be a good idea, instead of just pulling them out at random in the moment.
But to be honest, I think we've got some classic ones now, Sooner or later, I'm going to compile them all together. Maybe when we get to episode 50, compile them all together into a best of Maude. Maude's diary, and I think, we probably got probably half an hour's worth of Maude's diary at this point, so that's good times. Maybe we'll turn it into a stage show.
Maybe that would be a fun thing to do.
A one-man, two-man Truman show.
Yes, Nolte
and Brown back together again. Another 48 different universes.
All of them Maude.
Shall we wrap it up with a song? Shall we drive her home with a song?
Yeah.
Who's going first?
You.
Town Hall viral video.
Bloopers.
Demon hands clasped on lap.
Maude's changing outfits.
Holy Roller Plus.
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Citizen Committee on Moral Hygiene.
The Investorettes.
Bossy March takes over.
The Maison Derriere.
Drinking and gambling and Maud's debauchery.
Barney.
It's a Roswell fest.
$4,000.
Holy roller plus.
Stabbing Lou and Lockout.
Cooking and cookie eyes. Rolling eyes. Transporting eyes of Maud.
Kirk Hampton.
No more to be seen here.
The never-ending cycle of violence internally in Maude Cast.
A brothel without plants.
I was only there to get directions on how to get away from there.
Classic back of the body shot.
Nobody would care.
My Flanders.
Sarah Wiggum.
My Flanders.
The end.
The end. 40% of the end.
Dragons.
Ring, ring. Ring, ring.
Hello?
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 Hello? I'm Jeff Appel.
What?
To be continued.
Excellent. Good stuff.
Alright, that's the end there, then I'll start recording. Oh, we did it. Who would have thought it? 30 whatever, 30 something episodes and still rocking and rolling. So thanks all.
Not even halfway. You going to respect what
You have to do the voice of the second dog now. You have to do the voice of the second dog now that suspiciously starts off like human trafficking.